What's going on, everybody? Almost Counts Collectibles here, and in this video we're actually doing an update to a previous video that I did of the review of the 95 released movie edition Mighty Morphin Power Ranger figures. Now in that video I had pointed out that I had discovered I actually had two different sets of figures that not only looked kind of different, but they were constructed completely different. And for the life of me, I could not figure out where these other figures came from. I could not find any other releases of those figures other than the inclusion of them in the In Space 2 packs a few years later when Power Rangers in Space was out. So I actually posed a question to see if anybody could, help me out or if they knew where they may have came from. I got some suggestions. Some people suggested that maybe they were a foreign release. I could not find any information on foreign releases. I couldn't find any pictures. I couldn't find anything to confirm any kind of foreign releases or that's what they were. So that was kind of a dead end. Some people suggested that they could have been released in the Power Playback line. But after a lot of looking around on different databases and different forums, I pretty much confirmed that there were no movie edition Rangers ever released in the Power Playback line. There are catalogs listed in several databases of all of the figures and toys that were released in the Power Playback, and movie edition Rangers were never included on any of those. So I'm pretty sure that they were never released in the Power Playback line. Other people kind of suggested that maybe they were included in the Heroes line. I don't know if they directly said that, but they indicated the year, and that's when the Heroes were also being released. Now, there were figures very similar to these released in the Series 3 wave of the Heroes line. They are essentially the exact same figure, they just have a completely different paint scheme. They are not the movie edition Rangers. They do not have any chrome or any reflective paint on them whatsoever. They are the basic matte paint. They are made to look like the figures on the show basically, but they are not movie edition Rangers. So none of those produced a re-release of the movie edition Rangers. But after looking through eBay, I was looking at some stuff. I happened to see a black movie edition Ranger for sale, and I clicked on it just to kind of look at the figure. And when I zoomed in on the pictures, it actually looked like that particular figure's helmet and everything resembled my Mystery Origin Rangers. So, you can never tell 100% from photos. So I actually went ahead and purchased the figure. I actually overpaid for it. It's more than I would ever pay for one of these figures, but just out of pure curiosity to see if it was in fact just like the figures that I'm trying to figure out where they came from. And it arrived today. So after looking at it, I have confirmed 100% that it is one of my Mystery Origin Rangers. The helmet is the same thing with the chest emblem. It's a different color gold. It's not as big. And after looking with a flashlight in the back, I can confirm that there is no screw hole in the belt. So you will see that, and I pointed this out in that video, but when I'm talking about the different construction, like the Rangers are even assembled differently. We've got different bolt patterns as well as the cosmetic differences. So I was able to confirm that this is in fact that Ranger. Now I'm still left with a few questions because these two, and I've looked at the packaging is 100% identical. The only difference in the packaging, and I'll show you real quick, is literally the cutouts for the hangers. So you will see that this one actually touches the lightning bolt and it spans pretty much the entire length of the top of the lightning bolt, whereas over here it does not touch the lightning bolt and it's not quite as long. That is literally the only difference in these packages, is the way that the actual hanger portion is cut out of it. Everything else is 100% identical. All of the item numbers, everything is exactly the same. I have spent a long time looking at them trying to find the littlest bit of differences, but I can't really find any. Those are the only differences that I see. So just to show you guys that this is in fact the Mystery Rangers with the different bolt patterns, we'll go ahead and bring this one a little bit closer. But you will notice that the helmet, it has the larger tusks. The chest emblem is the, it's not as gold, it's a little bit fainter gold, and the sticker is smaller, just like our out of package collection right here. We've got the bigger tusks. We've got the chest emblem that's, you know, a little bit blander, it's a little bit smaller. So that is our figure. Whereas over here to the right, my complete, you know, sealed in package collection is a different Ranger. I used Black Ranger in that video for comparison because of not only the differences and everything else like the other Rangers had, but the paint on Black Ranger was slightly different. Now, most of the other Rangers, the paint looks very similar, but his was a little bit different, like I pointed out in that video. But you will see that this Black Ranger, his tusks on his helmet are much skinnier. And as you can see right here with this Ranger, very, very skinny. The chest emblem is more of a true gold color, and it's bigger. It takes up the entire cutout. So these are different, and I finally found one in package to confirm its origin. So these are both 1995 released movie edition Power Rangers. The only question now is why the change? Which ones actually came first were the ones that I have over here, the actual first initial release, the first initial, you know, waves, and then maybe they saw that they were selling really well and they were trying to capitalize on that, so they put them back into production. And this time, you know, maybe they had already moved on or something with the molds, I have no idea, but they actually slightly changed them. So I'm not sure. I don't know which ones came first, but they were both released in 1995. But one of them, you know, one of them was first, one of them was second. Why they changed, I don't know. But they were not released in some kind of different, you know, totally different wave of figures in a different toy line. They were released with the release of the, you know, 1995 movie. But something changed along the lines. I don't know. So it's not a different toy line. It's not a different figure line. It is from that same year, same release, but for some reason they changed and we got more. But I'm kind of leaning towards probably they put them back into production because they were selling so well, maybe. And, you know, they changed them for whatever reason. But here they are. Now that we know where they came from, I actually discovered, after finding this on eBay and purchasing it before it got here, I got a little curious, so I was looking up Google Images, I was combing through eBay, and I actually found an image of a Power Rangers in Space 2-pack with a Black Ranger that is the same as our Mystery Origin ones as well. I will throw that up on the screen here. So not only were both of these figures released in 95, they actually reproduced both different constructed figures for the Power Rangers 1998 2-pack release. Now, you know, this is very nitpicky, but I find it very interesting, you know, as a collector, that we got two totally different constructed figures in two different, you know, releases. It's very weird to me. I don't know, but I just wanted to point it out that I finally figured out where they came from. We are going to take a look real quick. Not only were these Rangers different, like I said, I covered the differences in my previous video, but their accessories are also different. And I will show you what I mean real quick. The blasters of the, you know, my no longer mystery, but my Mystery Origin Rangers, the blasters are a slightly different white color, and they are highly defined on their details. The details of the blasters stand out a lot more, and you can clearly see them. Whereas over here on the collection that I have, the blaster is more of like a little bit of a milky, almost halfway transparent white color. And the details aren't as defined. They aren't as raised up as much. It's kind of hard to see. I actually have their different blasters in the holsters of the figures, so we'll look more closely, but just so you can see them in the packaging. So let's take a little bit closer look at what I'm talking about. And it's kind of even the same with their holsters as well, the plastic. You will see that right here, the ones that you know, I thought were the originals and were wondering where these came from. Even their holsters are a different white color, and it's not because this one's out of package and it has sun damage or anything like that. Even the one in the package looks the same. So the plastic that was used is slightly different, but here's what I'm talking about. So this is from my figure over here to my left that I just got. This is from the figure to the right of the entire set that I have. And I've got paint on my fingers, but we're fine, it's dry. You will see that the details aren't as defined, and this is more of a, whiter, milkier color, and this is just a little bit darker and a lot more defined. It almost has a glossy look, and this has like a matte white look to it. So the blasters are different. But not only that, the power coins are actually different that came with these figures. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at what I'm talking about here. Now, on the figure I just received today, of the ones that I didn't know where they came from, if you guys can see it in the camera, not only the background is like a very raised up, rough, grainy look. It has this texture to it. But the Mastodon itself even has that texture all throughout the Mastodon, kind of minus his tusks. And I'm trying to avoid this reflection on the case here. But here you can see Mastodon clearly, like his fur and everything is very much raised up, and it's very textured. Now the tusks are still fairly smooth, but everything is very grainy and textured. Now the coins on these figures are much more smooth. The Mastodon is very smooth. The entire Mastodon's almost as smooth as his tusks. And the background, like grainy, rough texture is a lot more smooth on this one. Now, there's still a little bit of texturing there, but it's a lot more blended in. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get both of these in the shot here. And just so you can kind of see them side by side. But this one, and it's not as in focus as much probably, but it's a lot more smooth. Whereas this one right here, if you can tell, the texture of it is very, very rough all throughout the coin. Even the Mastodon's fur and everything stands up. It stands up. It's very textured. It stands out. You can clearly see it. And then once again, over here, very, very smooth throughout. So not only were the Rangers different, but their accessories were different as well. So I'm just glad that I finally figured it out, because it was bugging me to no end. Just one of those little minute, detailed things that pretty much only a collector would notice. So we finally got to the bottom of that. As far as the why and the how that this happened, I'm not sure, but that's the origin of them. That's where they came from. But the thing that is the most weird about all this is the fact that they actually re-released both different figures for the In-Space 2-pack releases as well. So, I mean, that's just very strange to me. I'm almost convinced that maybe they used a lot of, warehoused, unsold figures and repackaged them with the In-Space 2-pack to kind of get rid of them and boost sales of them. I'm not sure. So maybe those figures in those aren't actually freshly produced ones at all. Maybe they are actually old figures that were made in the 1995 for that release, and they had extras left over, and they decided, hey, we'll get rid of all these, we'll throw them into a 2-pack, and we'll sell them with the In-Space Rangers to get rid of all of them. So I don't know, very interesting. I'd like to find out for sure, but I just wanted to bring that to you guys real quick. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. And until next time, everybody, I will see you next video.